check. Hello, and welcome to the series of Making It the Track. This is Video Girl, and I'm going to run through of what I did with the mix and whatnot. The song was part of the Art of Tones album, which was kind of a single release, later on turned into an album at the end of the year in 2022 or 2023, whatever. Too many numbers to remember. But I had made this yes. I had made this track in about 20. Oh God. I had made this track. I had everything here. You know, it's really hard to make these videos to just stay on top of everything. There we go. I think I composed this in 2021, it looks like. No, 2020. And then the album came out 2021 or 22. I don't know. Whatever. So, let's go into the studio screen. I am right there in the square. Why don't we start with the usual, as in just the printed stem mix, as I do as usual. If you watch previous videos, you usually know that I do this. So, like I said, this mix was done in oh God, there's just so many numbers on Pro Tools, on 2021. And this is basically over the mix, and it is doing the stereo image, taking out stuff in this stereo image area with the curve here. So nothing in the mono field is getting slashed off at this frequency. You can even, if I demonstrate here, 1 second, please. I need to just make this just another print again. Oh, geez. No, everything's still on. Okay. Everything works. So, check. Everything just doesn't seem loud for some reason. Check. Okay. So I'm gonna pull out levels. So yeah, I'm gonna demonstrate this because this is a bit of a new video for some folks, but this is what I usually do to printed mix. Now, if you listen on studio monitors, you're gonna hear that there is more of the bass in there, right? First, now that kick is gone, right? So this plugin is making it focus on the side images. It's just a monitor plugin for mastering the mix, and that's just so that I can open things up more and give the other instruments room to breathe, as you can even tell here. It just seems like, to me, it feels like it controls things a little more. Some may say it's wrong to do, but I don't care. That's their opinion. Then we have the Safara Cobalt, just opening up the mix with a 3D harmonic type thing, the edge and warmth. So you see it kind of brightens up everything on the sides and mids and one. Everything just gets brightened, a little brighter, brightened up. Then we have Bass Room, which is correcting my, per se, not very pro mixing. Basically, it's correcting all the bass, and then I have Dance Pop Guru engineer helping me out here to make the mix better. You can check this out, as it is a big difference with it. Here we go. So as you can see, it's basically just curving my mix a little to a dance pop guru, which is a more, experienced engineer than I would ever be. Yeah, just to correct things. I like I said, I love this plugin a lot. These master in the mix plugins because they save a lot of time from going back and forth to the car. There is a lot of time wasted going to the car, and that has saved a lot of time. I'm not going to open these up because for some reason the sample rate changes. This is an older session. It starts putting the kick drum off time. But from what I know, what I've usually done is that I've probably put an SSL here. Well, it looks, I've probably printed the SSL it's in here, and I usually bump something at 100 kilohertz with a bell curve, and then probably at 3 kilohertz just to give it more of that other end of the spectrum, per se, the high mids that don't appear in cell phones. And then a parallel aggressor, which is not going to pop up because I don't want to open it. I was just going to screw it up, and it's going to take up more time in this video. I kind of want this video to see if I can make it to be 45 minutes or so, because I'm kind of just making it a raw, an uncut video. And I guess it's something that some YouTubers don't like, but whatever. Some people like the more raw stuff. Then we have the clappity clap clap. Really interesting what I've done here. Like I said, this is how long ago I've done this mix. From what this is a very, I kind of don't advise people to do this anymore. I mean, it's up to you. I just don't think it sounds as natural for what it is. I usually like to be there, or even 6. Yeah, but let's just put it back because that's how it was, in case this session's got to be open again and has to, have its consistency if for some reason if the label wants it or whatever. Then we have just some compression here, and using the LA 2A, right? As you see, the compression is helping out, doing a difference. And then we have a trim, which is probably automating things because, yeah, so this is just more in the breakdown. It's there for a reason, just to put the volume down, and I think when I brought this to the car, I had trimmed that down because it seemed too loud. This part seemed too loud when it was in the car, and usually with Pro Tools, you can't really draw the automations and keep moving your fader up and down, and I'm sure maybe that's with the same program, so I just use a trim plugin and start drawing in automation. Usually I just mix everything first at the loudest peak of the volumes of like the hook, and go from there and start arranging. And then when arranging, noticing that things are too loud or whatever, then we add this plugin. Then I forgot to say that everything is routed with the SSL mix right here, which is just basically a VCA circuitry and stuff like that. I forgot to say the good old analog settings to show, which is on insert channel 1, which is the pull tech. Let's see if we can kind of stretch to a little more and just show you the settings. Show everyone the settings. Just a 2K boost, and this would be affecting the kick, the claps, and the snare and the bass, because they are routed into one channel being mono. And yeah, then I'm just adding just 400 kilohertz in the low mids per se, cutting it back so just teeter-totting, then boosting at 3K just so it's just a little more prominent right here or whatever, and boosting it at 3 dB. Cutting it down at 1 at 4 kilohertz. I just picked that because it just sounded the best. As you can even see, it does a difference from me undoing and doing it. So I'll show you. If you're not in a studio, then it's not going to really, or you're not wearing headphones maybe, it's not going to be heard. That's out, in, out, in. And because it's tube, it's giving it more warmth and blah, 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 blah. Then here we have the insert of 1 and 3, which is more the percussions, and this is actually attacking the drum bus, which I'm just dipping off a little bit of 20 hertz, then boosting up the low mid around this part here. Maybe it'd be like 3, 4 something. Who knows? I don't know. In between these settings. Then we are doing the high mids, 4K, just a little bit, and then the 6K on there, just 1 dB up. Sorry if I'm a little off. I've been back working at film, so my brain is fried. DJ 2 gigs on the weekend, and I am absolutely done. I am just wanting to kind of go to bed, but I would like to make this video just to show everyone how cool this is. So now we are on to basically just like some off-time claps. Nothing fancy within doing this. I think this is the same that I did to the main clap, so it's just me being lazy. Like I said, I had done this a while back. That's the LA2A again within that off-time clap, and it's probably going to be the same setting, I would say, for this other off-time clap. Oh, guess I decided to use a distressor on that. I guess that was probably to bring it out a little more for a different color. Excuse me. Excuse me. I just think that was not really a great move, whatever I did here. But, excuse me, but the, oh my God. But the record does work, right? This is probably so disgusting to listen to. And like I said, same thing with this clap here. It's the same. Looks like I need a drink of water. Oh my. Yeah, so it looks like there was kind of some lazy mixing done here. But the track sounds good, I guess, for my taste. I don't know for others, but yeah. The label liked it. And then we're on to the hi-hat. Excuse me. Just no boosting, just cutting stuff. And I think just doing subtractive mixing is a good thing to do. Then we're on to the drum loops. Oh, I forgot. The Sodal Enable button. Gold. So, and that's because I'm routing the SSL and everything's going back into one, and so I can solo things, so this can act as its own independent thing. Blah, 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 blah. So this is the... this is one of the drum loops, drum loop 3. Just added in there. If that's not doing that, it's really clouding the mix, and I really just wanted this this low mids area to really bonk out and add more color, I guess, to the kick and groove, right? The more I find having these drum loops just add the groove, right? It's very boring without these, as you can see. Just no funk to it. It's dead, as in adding one. It's just like a hack move and just making things groovy quite fast, as in using drum loops to help you give grooves. Especially if you've just composed a freaking kick, clap, and a hi-hat, right? So, and you have nothing else going on. This type of stuff is just a hack move to give you groove right away. Now with tracks now, I make more of it, but I'm still doing this. I've seen other producers do it. I've seen footage of Avicii doing stuff like this, where he's using drum loops. It just makes things funky. It's like, just think of it when you're mixing down a record, of how cool it sounds when you have two of your tracks blending, and it just becomes more groovy and makes you want to like move, right? You can even see it when you're DJing and blending two records together, where the crowd gets into it, and when you're blending two records, especially when it's done quite nicely. On to just the crash. These are very aggressive curves, and I like I said, I just won't do this anymore. I just at the 12 dB cuts is basically what I do now, which is something that looks like this, and the 6. But to put 48, Jesus Schmergerberg. Then we have the fills. These are like this is like another hack move, is just using these drum fills here that are from sample packs, and just being put in as drum rolls rather than making them. They're quick and easy, and I felt just like when I was doing this record, I was going for more like a little mainstream poppy type thing, especially with Tyra Jutai. She's a more pop oriented bass artist from Toronto, or let's just say T dot, or Ontario province. But basically, she's more of a pop based artist. So doing something like this, I thought was quite the cool thing. I'm just trying to see if we're making time great. It was quite the cool thing to do, working with her. She's had her music on some Netflix TV shows, so it was really cool to even being able to collaborate with someone like that, with excuse me, a name behind them. My God. And yeah, so there's a lot of these fills here, and I think I had, I might have processed some of them, why there's nothing here, or just kept it the way it was. And they're enough of that. They're just great to use. And then we have kind of like the New York compression thing, where everything, as you can see here, this is getting put into this one aux channel. And it is doing the drums. So everything's just put in there and kind of just getting squashed to bring things out. Nothing fancy here. Taking out the stereo field of low end, flushing at 200 hertz. Then a flexor Munchkin curve preset, and I guess what I'm doing is just trying to get more of a smiley thing within the frequency of it. Like I said, this was done 2 years ago. Presets are probably not the best things to do, but it seems that it brightened things up a bit, because it looks like it's boosting it up at 100K, which is kind of like where like rock kick drums like to sit. And it looks like here it's doing a shelf, I guess. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, boosting up at 4K. Then in this area, the low mids of, I can't read that, 560, I think. It's funny, I have glasses on and it's like right in my face and I can't even read it properly. It looks like, I think it's 580. And then this is, I guess, coming to a more wider bell curve. And it seems that it's cutting and not boosting. And yes, it's a shelf here. So yeah, it's what's happening here is I hope I'm not going overboard. Jesus. What's happening here is that it is boosting in the low mids, and then we just have a bell here, a very wide bell, because I'm sure that's what's happening when you're doing this, and kind of goes nutty here. Then we're cutting, obviously, so that's why it's the flexor function curve thing, because it's cutting down to give the upside down smiley, I think, as they say. Excuse me. Then we're boosting at 1K, I guess. I don't know what's, 1K, I think. Bell curve, again, the boost, right? At probably 3 dB, I guess. 8K boost, again. 1, 2, 3, 4, do your math there. I don't feel like counting it. But yeah, preset, and then compression. It looks like I gave this a setting myself because I don't see a preset. And it seems like it's just bringing stuff out. 4-to-1 ratio. It looks like I've added gain to it, so I don't even know if it's really doing stuff in general. It's a very interesting video to be making, to be going back on these mixes and looking at the decisions and going, why did I do this? Versus looking at the decisions that I'm making now with mixing. I feel there's more an explanation for the decisions. At the end of the day, if people are consuming your stuff, you got a product. And that's what's happened. There's a product people consume. Label likes it. Great. It's the best. Whatever. It's my passion. It's fun. We can move into the bass. Now the bass is a Serum plugin. It does sound a lot like a bass. Kind of. When it's all in the mix, it actually sounds like a bass to me. Versus when it's soloed, doesn't really sound like a bass guitar, does it? So I thought it was really cool when making the bass, how it sounded in the mix. It really sounded like a bass guitar. So the intention was, I guess, to make it sound like that. Through all the processing and stuff that I'm going through. I know that I picked a preset in here that really warped it, and I think it was this. And did I pick a preset? No, it doesn't look like it. Never mind, I didn't. But I know that this, I feel this parallel aggressor, which is a saturator, I think, basically gave it that grit to feel like a bass guitar within the mix. So let's just try with stuff with it. So it basically does. I think it does give it more of that bass guitar feel, for my opinion. why I use that. I always use that in general. Forget why. A pumper, which is just doing 1/4 the notes, or every time the kick drum hits, it's just doing the side chain thing. Right, staying out of the way of the kick, and this is just something. I don't use the one knob anymore. I'm using the LFO plugin from X for Records, something like that. The same plugin that the company that Serum is with. But I use that for side chaining now. The reason why I don't use the one knob anymore, because I noticed that because I'm able to gain stage things with the studio and turn this knob up. Sorry, now I'm getting feedback. But I'm able to turn this knob up when it's quieter or whatever. And I could basically hear that this thing is doing like a whoosh, 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 whoosh. So I had figured that I had to switch to something else for that. Because I just feel it's just not something. It's coloring the mix if, per se, using this plugin. That's why I don't really use it anymore. It was part of a one knob package, which I think is great, but I still do use the filter from it, rather than just making my own filters and plugins. That's just my thing. Here it looks like we're using just some dynamic stuff within the bass. I have no idea why I'm doing this. I think this is mainly because this is maybe to do with the kick, right? Every time the kick hits. Let's see. Yes. So these here are to do with the kick. So whatever clash and frequencies are there, they're side chained into it, and so that the bass breathes more. If that's not there. Now I'm using a plugin called Fusser, which is from Master in the Mix. The reason why I switched to using Fusser is because the processing power with FabFilter sometimes, for some reason, whacks off the great word, right? Whacks off. It whacks off the sample rate within Pro Tools, and then the kick drum starts to go off time, and most of the other instruments, and then I had to process things, and I want to have the freedom to not process things so that I can manipulate the plugin if I think something is wrong. I do work in a weird function where, as in, if I make a track, I mix everything down first and then start arranging. The reason why, it feels better for me to mix it down first and then arrange, because then I know it sounds good, and then when it comes down to the mixing end of it, it is super easy, because to me, I'm just doing automation at the point, because the loop that I've mixed down already sounds great to me, and I know what I'm doing within the arrangement. There is other things that are clashing, because sometimes I add multiple parts of different instruments, and just one stint's going to be there. But yeah, you can even see on live streams of me producing stuff every now and again on the YouTube channel. And yes, don't forget to like and subscribe, right? Now the piano is a Roland Cloud plugin. I don't remember what it is. I don't want to dig through it because it's just going to take more time within the video. But this is all about the mixing process, and I think people want to know about mixing processes more than what I'm using. You want a video on that, then leave a comment, and I will do that. Yeah. Pumper, right? Oxide tape. I think I skipped that, but yeah, I was adding these for oxide tapes, I think back in the day. This tape machine was used to record, and then they'd use a tape machine to mix on. Correct me if I'm wrong. If not, then whatever, up yours. But this is just basically adding color to it, warmth, right? Another preset. Excuse me. I don't think. Let's see. Let's see if this thing's even what I would do now. So I probably would be okay with that now. I'd probably gain stage this a little differently to hit it, and I would start playing with this myself and seeing what I can do with it, the input of overloading it and seeing how it would sound. But for what this is doing, cool. It does have warmth and a color, right? This is so long ago, and it's just from doing the mix. It's just something I wanted to get done. I had spent a lot of time on this record because of doing corrections with Tyra back and forth, and then I'd have to bounce in through analog again, back and forth, then getting it mastered, and then making another correction again, which kind of sucked, but that's okay. That's kind of the nature of the industry. Yeah. Then we have the oral exciter. I'm still unsure to the day of how this thing works. It just sounds good. I mean, I understand how to make it work, but I don't know exactly what it does, and it just sounds great on pianos and like my other instruments to make them bright, such as keyboards or synthesizers. This really, you can even tell how much this really makes the track for the piano to be bright. This is almost nothing without the track. If this plugin, the Vintage Oral Exciter, and it is a very go-to tool. You can even see in the new video that I made, the previous video I made, I think with the bootleg Weed Stash, that it was being used for something else. It just that darkness that's there it just exists, right? Versus it just doesn't exist with this, right? Just it's garbage. Here, I can even just like show. Well, look, that plugin's gone. Let's see. Let's just give it a little like light mix to even show. So let's turn this off. Just a lot of the. It just sounds terrible without it. So, it's. I love this plugin. But yeah, it's great on pianos and great on synthesizers, I find to use. Great waste plugin. Then I don't know why I'm doing this. It looks like it's to do with the vocal to not clash with it, especially, yeah. It seemed that the piano was really clashing with the vocal at the time with it. Let's... Wow, that really changes the sound a lot. So it was basically, it almost took out the bases of a C. I would really mix this track a lot different than it was. Than it is now. This really needs to be like remixed by me and just turn it into a different song. And Play Records loves that stuff. Play Records loves things being remixed over and over again. Yeah. Fairchild. I'm so like confused as to like what I'm even, why the decision I make, but I do this, and it was just, I guess, to tickle it, but from a lot of it, it's like, from a lot of these plugins, it's really gaining this thing a lot, engaging it louder, which is interesting. And then it looks like I use this. There is so much shit on here. And then it looks like I use the the Neve to color things to give it the analog piano enhancement. What a hack. Look at this. Just all these presets, man. It worked, I guess, right? For me, for my tastes, it's worked. And then we have this. I love the sound of this synth, and I wish. I'm definitely gonna. Excuse me. I'm definitely going to look for this synth in this session because I really do like this sound, and I guess it reminds me of the 80s for some reason. Why I called it 80s. Yeah, and then I'm sure probably maybe the synth's even older. I had some Roland synth that I have no idea. This YouTube video is ready for me to just get like laughed at. I'd say for like what I've done. But yeah, as in here, it looks like I'm just God. Even this curve is just too much. This is great content. So yeah, it just looks like I'm doing some excuse me, some subtractive EQing to kind of bring things out, and then using this compressor. I'm not sure why, but it's just basically to color it, right? I do think this is an aggressive move, but it works. And then the SSL console, which is kind of, this is the E-Series channel strip. Excuse me. It looks like I am just adding 3K, taking the bell over, narrowing it, boosting it up a couple dB, and 5K and boosting it up. No bell. This is just a shelf, which is just giving it a nice bright sound, I guess. But right at 5, everything's getting boosted up onto the shelf. Then we have the strings. Pretty important, you know, just really adds that, really adds the tension within the song. Excuse me. I almost think now I probably would have added like pitch as what it's raising here. When it's raising up, this is a very like poppy oriented style produced record somewhat, but not with the budget of having a high class mixer doing it. But when you have the master and the mix plugin, it makes it sound like it great, right? I'm really knocking my work. That's sad. But like I said, it's been done so many years ago, but people like it. That is great. What is this? This must be added. Okay, I guess just because I wanted an impact, and I guess it just was too crazy sounding for it. No, I understand why I did it, but I think it's just a total wrong move. Actually, no, it's not. Looks like I'm just flushing out the high end of this sub. Yeah, because it looks like there's just some. It looks like there's a little bit of garbage that ends up here. Sorry, I'm just tired. But it looks like this garbage that ends up here that just shouldn't be there, which is why this move is done here. But it just looks like this just looks like I'm doing artwork here. It's just not mixing. 40. See, yeah, it's just. I think the 12 dB of a curve would have been something better to do. The 96 is over the top. It doesn't sound natural, and I think I would have done 12 there too, but let's just put this back to 48. And it's at 20. Yeah, sure. But whatever. Then we have the vocal here, which was done in Toronto at Orange Studios. Probably, I think it was done on a U87 through a Neve preamp. I'm 100% sure. A real one, or maybe a B, and the one of those clone ones, the Bay. I don't remember what they're called. And then I think it was like an 1176 clone, and then I had basically, I think, done some processing here already. Yeah, it looks like I had. But I basically comped and tuned things. Like I said, this is a little too much, but it's done. It's out in the world. Not very convincing, right? I can tell you though, the singing sounds great. I making this record, I was quite happy. I still am, but looking at these mix moves, I'm very like, why? We can just go through this stuff and maybe give you guys a little treat in the sense of just the stuff here. Just it looks like So it looks like I added. I think I did. There was a thing. An ozone isotope plugin that was good. I think it's called like Vocal Synth or something, and I basically printed it just to give it a cool. Yeah, just give it a more cool thing than panning her harmonies, I think. Yeah, then planning. Yeah, Tyra is like unbelievable at just singing harmonies because she's a full-blown musician and I'm not, right? So it was quite easy to work with her in harmonies. It's always a pleasure to work with singers that are musicians because they can do their harmonies and you don't have to work on them as hard with them because they can do them like that. And she was basically, it was seconds for her to do them. Incredibly talented. Very thankful to have worked with her with such unbelievable talent. Let's just go through the harmonies more. I want all the lights flashing. Wanna be the one that everyone is watching. I'm model any fashion. And it sounds great, right? I was it was so ardent to work with her because it was like I was a little scared, but like she was pretty cool and down to work with me, which was awesome. The label had hooked up. The cool thing about the album is that the label had hooked up a majority of the singers because that was kind of the deal that we had made as in doing the album, that I said that I really didn't want to track down singers and all that stuff. And it was more of a thing that if they found the singers, I would work with them, and just hear auditions of them. And they were down to work with me, which was pretty awesome. And then a couple of select singers myself within the album. What are we at? 45 minutes. This is bad. I guess we're almost done though. I think I'm just doing like the usual clean out of vocals, right? To certain things. What do we side? Looks like there's a lot going on. I think we're side shading certain things to not clash, and it looks like something to do with the Abbey chain fab, like. I don't really see anything. I'm a little unsure of what I did there, but most of the moves are kind of conventional moves somewhat for the vocal to come out for some reason. No, they're not. Nothing's working here. They're just dynamic dips that are doing nothing, I guess. And I think because most of this is processed too, and some of it wasn't because I made this on another computer at the time, and the processing power was just getting done because I was just slamming plugins more and more, and I think I had less processing cards, and I don't even stack this many plugins as I used to now, right? Yeah, this is just kind of like almost ridiculous in a way. Yes and no. Yeah, this is kind of, I can't watch this anymore. Excuse me. Just doing some subtractive mixing, I guess, in the dynamic end of things. It's not even doing anything. I don't even know why. Oh, it is doing stuff. I don't know what it's ducking out, but it's doing something. So I'm not gonna think about it anymore. But we have the Harrison to give the vocal color, I think. Yeah, nothing's moving here. So it looks like I gave color at something like some air with about 4 to 5, 4.3 dB, or who knows. The LA2A again, I guess, just to kind of squash things and equal things out. 1176, 4-to-1 compression, not very much, and the attacks kind of medium speed, extremely fast. Looks like I support. Excuse me. Oh God. Yeah, I think that's just giving color for what it is. Stuff like that. There is so many vocal tracks here. I really didn't realize how big this session was, but it's kind of what it is. We moved down to effects, which is basically, I think I routed the vocal into a thing called vocal push. And it looks like this plugin here is kind of as a Steven Slate plugin that is not there anymore, which gave the vocal, I think there was like a bunch of compression, some EQ moves, which made the vocal brighter. The delay effect for the vocal, I would say, this is what it's for. You can even hear. Over sets and cash and all the checks. I heard you need a muse. I'll get you lots of views. So keep your camera on. I guess it's not. It's an effects delay. So, geez. This is really like my old school mixing. It looks like from these effects, some of these are just laying in here. So things like. Yeah, you can hear it in there. Let's see. Yeah, so I used to be adding, it's just I added effects to different things. These are all like sample pack effects that I used to just screw in with, and now I feel the tracks that I'm making now have less of this type of stuff within them. There's less effects and all these whooshies and whoosh, whoosh, less of this EDM per se, stereo. I know we don't want to say EDM is a genre, but what per se people say that it's a genre thing or whatever. EDM is all of electronic dance music per se, in my opinion. But that was added. Now I use a plugin called Riser that does all that stuff, and I do less of that. Then we have the piano effect, which is the AMS, and I think this is just like a slap delay, I guess. Ghost echo. It's kind of like it's no Jesus. See, everything is like, I have so many different settings of how I work now compared to how I work now and back then, which is only a year ago. So a lot of things, a lot of changes of just how Pro Tools is set up and routed. So that's just giving it a nice wide effect. And then we have a delay on top of another delay. Doing different, cool. And then the brass sounding 80s thing. That has, excuse me, oh my, as you see here. Yeah, so this is the just add some more body to that synth, adding that this room here. Let's hear without it. More width. This is a session that I had to open a different one, so settings might be different because for some reason it was screwing up when I was trying to open it before. Maybe I should use less plugins, right? Then I was using on the vocal, the Capitol Room. This is at Capitol Studios in, I would guess, California. And it's like the old school way of how reverb is made, that you put speakers in a room and then you put the voice is there and there's microphones recording it. Yeah. Not sure how many people are doing this anymore. But it is a cool plugin. Sounds great. And I thought it was cool to add for her voice, for how it was. So let's just go here. A lot of back and forth, right? Check this out. I think a little too much reverb to my taste compared to what I would do now. But whatever, the record's out, right? It's really hard to look back on stuff you've done a little too long ago and try to say why you've done it and whatever. Just seems like doing and not thinking almost. A delay, 1/4. I just thought the 1/4 sounded dreamy with it. You know. And that I'm just adding that there for kind of the tone because it's a dry signal, which that dry signal was manipulated before, but just to kind of give more what it is, right? And it's a panded out stereo signal. Excuse me. And then we have, I guess, a room for the snare. Just so like it just sounds very massive at that breakdown. The tuk, 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 right, yeah. Let's see. It's funny, I don't use reverb on snares anymore, and I guess because I just wanted that kind of 80ish. I mean, this is an 80s reverb, I think, an AMS one. But yeah, it definitely adds it says wide snare on it. It does add a width to it. I wasn't reading that beforehand. I'm like, oh, it sounds wide. Another preset. But yeah, that works great. And yeah, just the brass effects. So I think really that's the end of the video. I thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, there's a remix package coming out of this, so please pre-save and check out the remixes and get yourself a copy. Yeah, I will see you on the next video. I do have another song coming out pretty soon, so I will make a video on the making of it very soon. So bye bye for now.